right. Well, I think I got something. Hey, I did it. Oh, hold on. Hey. Well, I think I'm making it worse.
Hi, I'm Ronald Wilkins and this is Municipal. And today we're going to be doing our interviews in the street department, and we are lucky to have Dale Dalkey here, who is the supervisor of the street department, and Mr. Matt Hine. So Dale, once you spot an issue, how do you decide what gets fixed first and what has to wait? So just prioritizing different street
Prioritizing. Well, we don't have it up right now, but we have a job wheel where we spin it in the morning, and see where it lands. No, I'm just kidding. We wish we had a job wheel sometimes.
Every day is really different. That's one thing I enjoy about this job is it's something new every day. A lot of times we come in, we kind of sit down, we try to figure out what the plan is for the day. Depending on what the weather is and the time of year, I could be in the shop doing a lot of maintenance stuff, or I could be out helping with any of the projects we got going on at any point in time. So it really varies quite a bit.
What's the biggest issue, If it's on a major road like Ash or D Street, is it in front of the school or is it downtown? Assess it. How much is it going to take? And frankly, sometimes a road gets too far gone where we can still patch it, but it's still not a great street. So at some point, sometimes you determine, well, this street's a little too far gone. We're not going to invest any more in this street until we actually rebuild it.
We're pretty creative around here. We've come up with some pretty creative fixes for the streets that have done pretty well. We're not afraid to experiment a little bit. We've found ourselves in situations where we have to either build an accessory for equipment or build something that allows us to do the job better. Efficiency is the name of the game. Try to do the most we can with what we've got.
Ronald, I did a couple practice welds just to make sure things were working. I'll let you do a few practice welds, and then we'll actually weld this together, and you can take it home.
Oh, wow.
Show everybody at home what you can do.
Yeah, okay.
Safety first, since it's hot metal, we have welding gloves here, and we have a, long sleeves, chest protector, keep the sparks away from you, kind of an apron all built in one. The gloves is because it's very hot. It's molten metal. And for the bibs, the long sleeves is because it throws a lot of sparks, and it'll burn your skin. We also have a welding helmet that protects you from the brightness of the welding. It has a tinted lens. It is an automatic lens, so it automatically tints. So you can look through it now, and it's just a little bit tinted. But once the arc strikes, it will darken. And to protect your eyes.
Good.
And then a big helmet to shield you from the sparks and whatnot. So yeah, it's a lot of sparks and a lot of heat and a lot of bright light. Most equipment's made out of iron. And eventually that iron can fatigue and break, might get a crack in it, or we build a lot of our own things, or accessorize it, or improve it. We need to fix and repair and make new things.
And what's the life of this equipment here?
The gloves, they can last for hours and hours and hours of welding. Leather, once you get it too hot, like if you actually touch it right after you welded, it would get hot on your fingers. And it would shrink the leather, and then they wouldn't be comfortable enough, and they'd be all stiff. And the welding helmet, it has a little like watch battery in it, and as long as you replace that once every year or two, it's fine. And then these, eventually you can see some little holes where it'll get bigger holes, and then you eventually replace it. It's just a canvas. So.
Alrighty.
How do weather and seasonal changes impact the way you plan and prioritize your street work?
Weather and seasons is a big part. Asphalt work really has to happen in the summer. Yeah, we're not going to pour concrete when it's freezing.
Wind events. You never know what a wind event is going to bring. It could just be windy, or we could be out for an extra 2 or 3 hours helping clean up limbs and clear streets, things like that. So weather is the biggest kind of unpredictable part of our job. For me, I would say.
There's different seasons for different work, definitely.
Speaking of weather, How would you say you go about determining which of the main streets to get open first? Describe that process for me.
So being on the fire department as well, and also with Marion County EMS, I look at it a little bit from an emergency preparedness standpoint. What are the main streets to get to all the parts of town? I focus a lot on Ash and D Street, as well as 3rd and Adams. So that kind of creates a square around town. From there, it depends on how much snow we're dealing with. Is school on or school canceled for the day? Typically school is canceled because of snow, so I don't worry so much about the school routes right away. But focusing on making sure that all the routes for getting emergency personnel where they may need to go in the event of having a call. Once we kind of get those main roads for the most part open, then we start looking at, okay, what's the next streets? We'll start focusing on school routes, making sure that all the buses and parents can get to the schools appropriately without having accidents, things like that. You know, I wish we could plow all the streets faster, but we have one truck. Most of the rest of our equipment is actually usually downtown, clearing snow out of the downtown area. Oftentimes we'll try to make one pass just to have it cleared. And then we'll come back and make another pass later potentially, or widen that street out some more just so we can get better traffic. It's not uncommon for someone to see the truck go by and say, hey, they've been here, I'm gonna open up my driveway. And then I come back and then once again, they want to throw snow shovels at me. Unfortunately, the plow is not a magical device that we can just stop moving snow for the course of a driveway, but try to minimize as much as possible so we're not pushing all the snow back into someone's driveway. We try not to be a jerk about it.
So this is our John Deere 210K. We call it the box blade tractor because it has a box with blade on the back, and then of course the loader on the front. We use this for a lot of different things in the city, a lot of asphalt patching actually. This is kind of our main piece of equipment for asphalt patching. We also use it for loading. Sometimes we'll have people come in that want crushed concrete or something like that. We use it for loading occasionally if our big loaders not around. The way this thing works, most of our equipment that has a loader on it works the same way. A control lever here, this runs all of the bucket controls. So if you pull the lever back when it's running, it'll raise the bucket up. If you push forward, it'll lower the whole thing down. Then if you pull this to you, it will roll the bucket back. If you push it away, it'll roll the bucket down.
Hey, I did it.
On the steering wheel, if you look just to the left of the steering wheel, you see the F, N, and R.
Yep.
That's forward, neutral, reverse. This has what's called a shuttle shift on it.
Okay.
We can go between forward and reverse just by flipping that lever back and forth.
Okay.
And then also the 1, 2, 3, 4, those are gears that we use as well. Okay. So this tractor is 4-wheel drive. Because of how it's set up, when we're loading, we pretty much have it in 4-wheel drive all the time. All the orange levers here are for the box blade portion. There's 5 of them there. I'll let you play with them at your own free will.
Okay.
You'll kind of begin to understand what does what when you start playing with it. So we have the crushed concrete in front of us here. Bring your bucket down just so it touches the ground, and then you can ease into the pile, and then you can roll it back. So you pull the stick to you, that'll roll the bucket back, and you can lift up, back up, kind of dump wherever you want, really. So.
All right. How long did it take you to get comfortable doing this?
You know, Dale is one of those operators that when you see him do something, it really frustrates you to realize how good he is at moving levers and making things happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of like playing the drums. I didn't play the drums, so I'm not telling you that I'm a drum player, but I liken it kind of to playing the drums because you're working your forward and reverse with one hand and steering.
Yeah.
But then you're doing all that with the other hand on 5 different levers because sometimes you need to roll it forward a little bit so you cut a little more.
Yeah.
But then you need to tilt it one way a little bit.
Yeah.
But then also you have undulating ground. Well, as you go up the hill, your cutting edge keeps going up the hill, but the ground is already going downhill, so you have to constantly be moving that with it.
Wow.
It can get overwhelming pretty quickly.
Yeah, no, I bet.
Just when you think you kind of got it,
Yeah.
then something else comes up and you're dealing with uneven ground or something, and
Yeah.
it's just like, well, everything I thought I knew just went out the window now.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but, yeah, I mean, it's a new tractor.
Projects within the street department right now are South Wilson Street. We have a contractor doing that one, and they just finished pouring main line today. They have a couple little pours to do tomorrow to finish up the north end with some wheelchair ramps and sidewalk. So that's gonna be a great improvement for South Wilson. Also South Lincoln will get the same type of project. They'll rip out the street and put a new street in, new sidewalks. That should happen in a few weeks or maybe a couple months, depending on the contractor's schedule. One more contractor thing, it's going to be a while before construction starts, but the sidewalk trail that goes from the intersection of Ash and Orchard Drive, right by the pharmacy, it's going to go all the way to Sonic, down Orchard Drive. So that's going to be very nice for people that maybe don't drive, that walk to Dollar General and Sonic and different places, businesses through there. And people that just enjoy walking, they can take that route and have a good, safe sidewalk to walk on. Yeah. Projects within the street department that we're doing ourselves, we're getting ready to do some mastic on Santa Fe Street in the industrial park. There's some concrete that's kind of breaking out, and we've patched with asphalt before, but that only kind of is a temporary fix. So we're going to use this hot mastic to clean it real good and lay that down, and hopefully it's a little more of a permanent patch. We're going to probably do some line striping, like the double yellow lines on some of the streets we have, and white skip lines on D Street, just to give people good markers of where the street's at and where the center line's at. We hope to do some line striping, and we'll probably stripe the pool parking lot while we're at it, maybe City Hall parking lot, whatever needs it.
In the mastic, can you share the differences between that and the asphalt, and how it's better and why it's important to fill the cracks in our streets?
Right. So the importance to fill the cracks in a street is just to keep moisture out. It degrades everything because the moisture gets within the pavement and under the pavement to the soil under the pavement and create a soft spot. Some of our streets have rock under them, some have dirt under them, but especially the ones with rock under them. So you keep the moisture on top of the street versus within the street, so there's no soft spots. Once the base under the pavement gets soft, the rigidity of the asphalt or concrete might not support the traffic, and it'll start to break and crack and blow out. And so the mastic is a pretty good product because it's a hot product. We clean the pavement really well, whether it's asphalt or concrete. The cleaner you have it, the better it'll stick. That applies for pretty much any kind of adhesive or any product. So we clean it really well with the compressed air and put that hot mastic down. It's about 300 degrees or a little more. We've had pretty good luck with this so far.
I was really amazed at how much even just asphalt costs, just for us to get a truckload of asphalt. I think there's a misconception, once again, how expensive it really is. Time-wise, and how many people it really takes to do the task, to do it safely and appropriately, to try to do a good job on it. Sometimes we can send a guy out to do a job. Sometimes we're all out to do a job. So I think there's people see the classic city guy leaning on the shovel and they think that we're all not doing something, but we're all working. It's just sometimes we have to wait for certain steps of the process to happen. That, and maybe the danger of the job. I don't know that people think about it being as a actually dangerous job. The highway crews work with people going 60 and 70 mile an hour. We deal with people going 20, 30 mile an hour, but being hit by a car at 20 or 30 mile an hour is still going to hurt and be dangerous. So just some of the traffic that we have to deal with is, I don't think people realize how fast they're going in our presence, maybe.
Everything's more expensive. Equipment is so expensive. And we have some pretty good equipment. There's always, we could use better on some pieces of equipment. And materials is so expensive. And trucking, getting things shipped here and moved here, materials and different things. We have some good guys that work here, keeping good help. Not a huge issue, but it's a concern. It takes good people to do this stuff, and we have good people. I get excited about doing bigger projects. The maintenance day to day, it's okay. It can be fun, but sometimes it's here and gone within a day or two. Starting a bigger project and really diving into it and engineering it and figuring it out and getting after it. I don't know, I kind of like that.
I enjoy working for the city. Like I said, I've been here for 12 years, and this is the first job that I've worked at that, given that I've worked here this long, I don't go home and just dread it. We don't have an on-call system within the street department necessarily like a lot of the other departments do. I prefer that personally. When I clock out at the end of the day, I can go home and be with my family and be me. And I'm not in it again until I clock in the next morning.
Do you know, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, mileage-wise, how many miles of streets that you guys, maintain or work on just in the city?
I could go get the numbers from my file. I think I know where they're at. But roughly, we maintain the same miles of streets in Hillsboro as it takes to drive from here to almost McPherson, like a mile or so short of McPherson, like where the curves are just this side of McPherson.
Yeah.
That's counting all of our streets.
Yeah.
If you lined them all up end to end. So 20 some lower 20s,
Yeah.
23, 24 miles.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I'm doing something good for the community. It's not something that's real high profile, maybe. It's kind of like picking up the trash, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy when the trash is picked up. Well, everyone's happy when they can drive home and not notice that the road is bumpy and rough.
Yeah, you know, I feel like it's almost one of those, you get in the spotlight when something is wrong versus when something is right. You know, if a street has cracks in it or potholes, everybody is, you know, really clamoring to blame you guys and say that, you know, either the city or you guys aren't handling it well. But I mean, like both you and Dale have mentioned, I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of funds that don't just come out of nowhere. I mean, you know, believe me, if we could just print money, I mean, we'd probably fix every street in town,
Absolutely.
you know.
But we would have some really nice equipment doing it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not the reality of how things go, and I think we do the best we can with what we've got. Thank you for being willing to stay for 12 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully many more.
It's been fun so far.
So, I'm Ronald Wilkins, and this is another Mission Accomplished.